Welcome to being here.
Ah,
I thought I'd start with something new.
that's right.
I'm Ariel.
I'm shy.
You are
A miracle.
You are.
Thank you. But
You
so
are.
are you.
Thank you. And so,
Are you?
Okay. Did we just stress you? Did you stop listening?
Did you say they can't be talking about me?
Well, yes, I am. You know, the rebuttal in our minds.
But you know, it's really truly a miracle.
What?
There's so many.
Pick one.
One is that we have this Zoom function that or
Technology.
that we can converse with people all over the world in real time. That's one little miracle, but that's a little miracle compared to the miracle of humanity and each of us being here. The miracle of looking at our backyard and seeing a black bear there 10 minutes ago. That's a miracle. I mean, but you know, that of all that you're alive.
You know, if you're familiar with our show, you've been watching it for a while.
Listening
For a while. Yes, not watching, listening.
Unless you zoom into our weekly seminars.
You may notice that we pick photos that go along with each episode that somehow tie in or representative, and they're all photos or images that I take. One of my passions is photography and images. And as we were preparing to come up here into our office and record this Being Here episode for you, a little black bear was running around our backyard. And Shai quietly opened the door and I went out and took some pictures. So when this episode comes out, we will have a picture of that little black bear as the episode image. And you are involved. It's all a miracle. And you know, another miracle?
What's that?
This episode was suggested to us by our friend Ursa the bear. So it's all very fun.
That's right.
What do we want to talk about?
What a gift it is to be alive. That's a miracle. You know, that you have the cognitive ability to know that you are alive. You know, trees out there, they're alive, but I just really don't believe they have communication and know that they exist. They just exist. But that humanity has evolved, that this planet, which is
under stress, admittedly.
Yes, by the human beings that it put forth. You know, if you believe in evolution, we've evolved from being an ape-like creature into putting men and women up in outer space. We've made the idea of going from one part of the world to another in a matter of hours a reality via commercial airlines. Humanity has, there's these miraculous new vaccines that are, and the same technology they're discovering will work for cancer that they have in the most recent vaccines for COVID. There's all these amazing human advancements. Same time, we are destroying our planet, but we'll see what happens. However, you have this moment.
And you can worry about what's coming. You can bemoan what went before. But if you are here, this moment
is magic.
Let's take our first guest. We have with us today, Darina.
I think it's Ursula.
Is it Ursula first? Who's with us? Let's see who comes in.
I think it's Ursula.
It is Ursula. Hi, Annie. Tell people where you are zooming in from today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ursula, and I'm zooming in from St. Gallen, Switzerland.
Ah, sweet.
A
Well,
beautiful summer evening.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I didn't. I
It's a beautiful summer evening.
I got my ears in too. You know, you think I'd hear it? Beautiful summer evening, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
summer in this part of the world.
It is summer. Yes, it's a really hot and beautiful day. Yes. And I had forgotten that I've suggested this You Are a Miracle theme. I totally have forgotten it.
Did it get lost in your conversation about who you are and what you have to offer on any given day?
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yes. And I love what you said, Chaya, just a minute ago about, it's such a gift to be alive and that
Yeah.
we are aware of it some of the time and some of the time we are not.
Well, if you're lost in the story that you've told yourself over and over again from your earliest memories about who you are, then life is not a miracle. Life is a difficult endeavor.
Mm.
Life becomes a miracle when you're here for it, when you're not lost in questioning your abilities or what you are here to do. You're just here. You know, how did this happen? This is amazing. You know, that that you can be here and not get lost in neurotic thoughts about where you should or could be, but be where you are. That's a miracle.
You know, you were downstairs making us coffee. Well, I signed in here, and Dave, who's our engineer today, was doing a sound check with Ursula and Dorina.
Mhm.
And he just asked them to say their names. And Dorina said her name, and she had such a light and lovely laugh. And then Ursula said her name. And Dave goes, I got goosebumps. He got goosebumps just hearing them say their names.
Well, I love that he can be moved by life because, you know, you get lost in your agendas, getting somewhere. And look, life doesn't show up on your agenda line, you see. Life doesn't say, okay, there'll be a little black bear in our backyard at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It just shows up. And the miracle is that you can allow yourself to really be here in this moment of your life. That's a miracle. And for most people, it's not available because they're distracted by the story of their life and still complaining that their parents did it wrong. I mean, your parents did it right, not just you, Ursula, all of us. Because if you're here, if you happen to be listening to this podcast, you know that this is an amazing possibility. And they didn't do it wrong because you're there. See, if you're listening to this podcast, you have a possibility of realizing that you are the author of your life, not the victim of your life. That life is a reflection of how you're being into it. That's wild stuff. From my point of view, you know, and you don't have to believe me about this because I could be wrong. I think I was wrong once in 1943.
You were too?
Yeah.
It's so lovely that you are speaking about parents, because when I met you some 20 years ago, I think about, at that time, I didn't speak to my father, and I didn't really find myself close to my mum, although we are very much alike. And it's just such a miracle that I now have contact with my father, and he actually just called me because his wife just died, his second wife, and I was kind of close to her, sometimes closer than to him. and at the same time, I'm not. We hadn't seen each other obviously because of COVID, and she didn't want to be vaccinated, so they kept to themselves. But he got eventually vaccinated, and I can feel that he was sad, but I was so astonished at the miracle of my father telling me this with a quiet, calm voice, and that he sat there and she didn't recognize anybody else anymore, but just him. And he sat there at her deathbed, and all I could do was I could kiss her, and I could stroke her, and I could pray with her.
Mm.
And I was just so moved that he also because he included me in that very special moment.
Mm.
And to be suddenly so close to him in that moment, it was beautiful. And then he said, well, I've already made plans, and I'm gonna move back to that part of Switzerland where I was when I was living with you, so I can be closer, and maybe we can have a nice time. And it was just very, very moving. And it was also funny because he's of such hard hearing that if you are on the phone with him, you cannot really ask him anything. You just listen. You just get everything that he talks, and then every now and then you can shout something into the phone like, yes.
Well, you say you can listen.
Yes.
You've trained yourself over the last 20 years to truly listen, not to agree, disagree, think about, and, have an internal conversation while listening to somebody, but actually quiet your mind so you can be there hearing what another person has to say. Your listening to your father is a miracle and a gift.
Mm.
It frees him, because I guarantee you, Ursula, most people that he speaks to that do not hear the pathos in his wife's passing, the pain he is in. And by hearing it, by listening to him, you relieve him of a lot of that. Being heard.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was very moving to hear him make plans. He's now 88. And yes, but he's, he's out there. He wants to partake in life. You could hear that strength in him still. And I love that.
Sounds like you're a lot like your father as well.
Yes, you could say that. And
we just did.
Yes, and I've got my voice back. I lost my voice last week for a few days, and it's now exponentially coming back, which is lovely. It's so
what
much
coming back?
Exponentially.
Yes, like
that's great.
Yes.
Mm.
It's hard to yodel without a voice.
You could say that.
Mm.
Yeah, I love how vulnerable I've become. I just love that.
Yeah, that's another miracle. See, most people are lost in decisions they made as children to not be vulnerable.
Mm.
And your ability to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to feel, to experience, that's magic. That's a miracle, especially in the world we live in.
Yeah.
Given how most people feel.
Yeah, and it feels like it's a greater power than being, independent and strong and all of those things that I used to strive for before.
Look, my dear, you're still independent and you're still strong. And you can be vulnerable and
Yeah.
soft as well.
Thank you. I learned that with you.
Yes, being unprotected and vulnerable is one of your greatest strengths.
Yes.
Mm, very sweet. Thanks for being with us
Yeah.
today, and thanks for this episode. It was created by you, conceived by you, communicated by you, and we've all benefited.
And I do believe it is a miracle that a bear showed up on the day that you are on Zoom with us.
What a gift.
Well, I don't see it as independent of the course we have upcoming, creativity and intuition. You know what's neat about it? I know you could call it instinct, cellular memory, anything you want, but Shia built in our dining room a little perch for our cat baby in there so she can sit up, and it's right even with the hummingbird feeder we put out so she can watch the hummingbirds come, and she can look off the deck and see the squirrels and the chipmunks and the birds. And when that bear came, she ran, jumped up on the perch, puffed her tail, and started growling. And I've never, ever seen her do that before. She knew.
That was an instinctive reaction because that bear was outside, not in the house, nothing open between that window and the bear, but she knew that that was a predator, and she responded. It was very wild.
And I know it's not like an absolute metaphor or something that we can relate to creativity and intuition, but I think there's so many things we know, we sense, we feel, but we often shunt them aside.
Talk ourselves out of our intuitive knowing.
We've been training our minds to learn knowledge and data and information, and there's a whole other skill set in addition, and it's something we'll be playing with at the end of July the 30th and 31st. So you are invited. You're all invited.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today, Ursula. Really.
You're so welcome.
Yes.
It's that time.
The time for what?
Our listener feedback spotlight.
What is that?
Well, I'm so proud of the people who listen to this show. And now we get to hear from one or more of them about what's happening in their lives with transformation by listening to this podcast and
what they've discovered about life, what they've discovered about their lives, that they are experiencing fun in their lives.
And that they want to share it with you.
Yeah.
This is Andy in Brooklyn. Through transformation as a new dad, I have been blessed with the experience of enjoying watching my daughter grow and be exactly as she is without trying to have her be different, change her. And it is such a lovely gift and so much fun.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Our next Living Made Easy seminar will be next Monday, the 18th, and then Saturday, the 23rd. You're invited. We just mentioned creativity and intuition. That's July 30th and 31st. It's a virtual seminar, so you can attend from anywhere on the planet.
We're also doing Intimacy September 17th and 18th.
You know, I love the image on that one. On the course description, we went to a place that had a street sign. Main Street was crossing over with Love Street. So it's Main Street and Love. So come join us for intimacy. Then in person,
We're doing a sleepaway for grown-ups at Camp Tecumseh here in New Jersey for October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That's Friday afternoon, evening, Saturday, and Sunday.
and want to let you know, so you can go up to transformationmadeeasy.com and go ahead and register for whatever you want to attend, but also to give you the time to plan your schedules so that if you need to travel in from somewhere like Switzerland or Germany or anywhere else that, or New York City,
Australia.
you can do that. That's right. Yeah, Paisley, come join us. All right.
Or Hong Kong.
Yes, Cheryl, et cetera, et cetera. Let's take our next guest.
Okay.
All right, Darina, kindly let people know where you are zooming in from.
Hello, Ariel and Shaya. Here's Darina from Hamburg in Germany.
Nice, welcome.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for having me. So lovely to see you, and I'm just moved. It's like I could start just to cry because I'm just moved, and so many things are happening in my life, and I can say it's all a miracle.
Yes, I agree with you.
Mm,
Absolutely. And it started this morning. I went to my mom and we had breakfast together. And my fiance, Mark, have his birthday today. And so, yeah.
Wish him a happy birthday.
we recorded last week's episode today as well, so we'll have to reach out to him and wish him happy birthday.
Yeah, and she was wondering how she can manage that to sing him a happy birthday song, because she always loved to sing happy birthday songs for when a person have birthday, and it's very beautiful. She have a beautiful voice too, and when we finished breakfast, I said, well, maybe Mark is still awake, and we can try. Maybe he's there. And so I sent him a message, and he was. And we started to sing together. And that was so amazing. For such, I don't know, for long, we didn't sing together. And we sang happy birthday to him. And, you know, it was so touching because she have a high voice when she sings. I have a high voice when I sing. And it came together in such a nice, beautiful way. So I was, wow, I was really astonished.
That's great.
Absolutely.
I imagine we met you, 20 years ago, somewhere around there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your life was not a miracle back then.
Oh, it's true.
You know, it's interesting. I'm sure, I know people sing happy birthday to other people every day of the year. It's the most popular song in the world. And so there've been plenty of times you've sung that, but you were here today with your mom to experience the miracle of your voices blending together. That is so sweet.
You know, that you've discovered how to live moment by moment is a miracle, because there was a time that fear dominated your life. And so it was always worrying about something rather than being here in current time. And I'm really proud of you. Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever wants the definition of intimacy, we should probably direct them back to this episode, because your explanation of singing with your mom and the experience of that gives me goosebumps. That is the definition of intimacy, or one
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one.
So much. And I just really cannot thank you enough, you both, for in our years of experiencing transformation and listen to you in so many ways. And I mean, I'm listening to the podcasts every week, and it really makes a difference to me. Yeah.
Good. So we'll keep doing it then.
Yeah,
You know, and I want to thank you right back, not only for listening to the podcast, for partaking, but I have a suspicion you, like most of us, underestimate your courage amongst other things. Because there were times like when your marriage ended and it wasn't what you, or things, you changed jobs at work, or when you became disappointed in yourself, which happens to us if we don't meet some internalized standard, you kept coming. And that takes courage, because when we get upset,
We take ourselves away. We wait until we feel better so we can be in public, but we don't want people seeing us upset. And that's the definition of an upset, when you take yourself away and work on yourself. And, you know, you went through upsetting times and you kept bringing yourself forward. And the payoff is having a miraculous life.
Yeah.
you know, I think it's so easy to say, oh yeah, those seminars, they were good, but I'm not, you know, it costs money, it costs time.
Well, you know, your dedication keeps it alive, because it's so easy to invalidate when things don't go the way you want, invalidate what you're doing in your life as though you're doing something wrong. Oh, I had something else and it went away.
That's all right. The miracle is it's perfect.
Yes.
It's all perfect. Because I'm not
Wonderful.
going anywhere.
Yeah. And I understood that. I mean, I really, when I listened to you, when you said you cannot do it wrong, you cannot do it right, everything is just perfect. I mean, I remember myself multiple times during the day. It's like when my brain wants to go, oh, you cannot do this, or oh, no, you don't have it under control, or like fighting with me. But when I put that away and I am showing up, like not thinking, just do what comes up, and then it's perfect. It's really, yeah. And I can be proud of myself in retrospect. Not in this moment, I don't know, but when I see it in retrospect, I see, yeah, great. It's, yeah, this is the perfect thing.
Well, here's the thing, sweetie. I like what you say, but it's okay to experience the perfection of your life in this moment as well, not just in retrospect, but in directly, that when you're living your life directly, rather than being driven by decisions you made in the past, suddenly you have a life.
I want to offer a possibility for you, Dorina. We haven't talked about the 3 principles of instantaneous transformation for a while. I want to touch on them very quickly. You know, the first is anything you don't like or you judge or don't want, it grows stronger. It dominates your experience of yourself and it sticks around. And then the second is life there's multiple ways to say this one, but I'm going to do it this way. Life shows up exactly as it does in any given moment. You can only be exactly as you are in any given moment. No 2 ways of being can occupy. You could just be you. Third principle, anything you see or bring awareness to or notice without judging completes itself in an instant. So what I want to bring as a possibility is you can start noticing the fight with yourself that you were describing,
yeah,
as a miracle also.
Ah.
Is perfection is not just when you get it together and then in retrospect you can be proud of yourself. When you notice that that fight is happening, it's pretty darn exciting. It's amazing. It's a miracle. You're suddenly no longer in the fight.
Mhm.
You can see it like a phenomena. And if you
Wow.
don't judge it,
It completes itself in an instant.
And then I can move forward.
but see, you're interested in moving forward.
Aha.
That's that first principle in disguise. You don't like that place. You don't want to be in that place. You want to get out of that place and you want to move on to the better you.
And that's what keeps you stuck in that place.
I got it. Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah, that's a miracle. Really to let it happen.
You know, the other thing is the more you're interested in being proud of yourself, you're likely to energize being disappointed in yourself.
Ah.
See, maybe there's a possibility to just be
Live,
the way you are and be
experience.
okay being you in this moment of your life. Not about some future moment, not about getting somewhere.
Mhm.
Look, when you marry Mark,
Mm.
that won't be any different than this moment. It'll just be another moment. I mean, you may attribute more importance to it,
Mm.
but it's but
when you have
if
the-
you are here
Mhm.
thinking when I get there it'll be better, it won't get better.
But if you're living the fullness of this, whatever this is,
Yeah.
that will be exquisite.
Ah. Yeah.
That's right.
Ah.
But if you
Yeah.
think something in the future is going to be better than what you are now in this moment, then when the future shows up, you'll have that same mechanical thought, something better is coming down the road, and you won't be there for that magic.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a gift.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
Yes, it's been a real pleasure.
And chances are you'll speak to Mark again before we do, so please wish him happy birthday from us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Very much.
You're
Very
welcome.
welcome. Wow, this was really sweet.
Yes, it was.
You know, in the middle of today's podcast, you heard some listener spotlights, people expressing themselves about what they've experienced through transformation or the books or listening to the podcast. And if you would like to submit one, or if you'd like to submit an idea for the show, or you would like to be on the Being Here podcast, go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Oh, I love next week's episode already.
So do I.
The theme is catnaps.
I had one just before this show.
You did. I joined him very briefly and it was super, super sweet.
Mm.
So we invite you back. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Being here.
I love it when you said that.
Well, thank you. I'll say it again.
Being
Being here.